Do you need a shulker box loader that you can tile together and is one block wide? Well, you're in the right place because in this video I will show you how to build this very simple one that is behind me. Hello everybody, this is Giorgio once again with a brand new redstone video, and as I've already mentioned, it is a tutorial for a simple one wide tileable shulker box loader. If you followed the channel for a bit, you might know that I love shulker box contraptions, and I have come up with several designs of loaders, and even some randomizers in the past. And even though I have managed to create nice and functional loaders before that are one wide tileable and have different features, I have not been completely satisfied with them, and neither have some of you guys. For a bit of context, the last one that I posted was this one, where I came up with the idea of using cobwebs to limit the random movement of the shulker boxes once they are broken with the piston. It was my attempt to make a 100% reliable pickup system for the shulker boxes, and well, it was not bad, and I was very happy with it. But some of the guys from the Storage Tech Discord came along and told me that it seemed reliable and could work, in fact, for a very long time, until it didn't. There were still some edge cases in which it would fail and the streak would break. Also, they advised me to use less hard to get materials so that it was easy for you guys also to build it. Well, I do listen, guys. So I listen to them, I listen to you guys in the comments, and here it is, my final design of the loader. Now, a little heads up, I had to make some design choices and let some of the cool features out of this one, unfortunately. But yeah, on the good side, it is truly 100% reliable when catching the shulker box, and I even made two designs with some slight differences for you to choose the right one and the one that fits your purposes. Now, both of the designs work in the very exact same way, which is we read the fullness of the shulker box with a comparator through this concrete powder block, and as soon as the redstone signal from this redstone dust changes to 15 or turns to 15, this sticky piston will push this normal piston upward, and the normal piston will break the shulker box. Now, the way to make them reliable is by using a technique called precision hopper locking, and it consists of locking a hopper below the shulker box and unlocking it only until the very same tick in which we break the shulker box. That way, the hopper will immediately pick up the shulker box and will not give it time to move randomly to anywhere else. As I said, both of the designs work under the same exact principle, and the only significant difference between the two designs is the type of reading that they use with the comparator, the detection, and the compatibility with pre-filled shulker boxes. We'll get into that in a moment. So if we come here to the first one will break the box 14 game ticks after it gets completely full. So the speed is not bad. It also has the upside that it will never have a buffered shulker box. This just means that every shulker box that the system fills up and breaks, you'll get immediately through this bottom hopper. We can see this in action by replacing this empty shulker box here at the top with a completely full one like this one. And we'll also freeze the game so that we can see the precision locking in action. So let's put the full shulker box right here. Nothing is inside of the hopper, nothing is inside of this dropper, and nothing is inside of this bottom hopper. We'll step the game exactly 13 game ticks. So you can see there. And now you can see that this piston is right in the position to break the shulker box. And notice also how this redstone torch is on and this repeater is also on, ready to turn off this redstone torch. If we step the game one more tick, we can see that the shulker box gets immediately broken. We cannot even see the piston activated yet, but it technically is. The shulker box gets broken. As you can see, the torch is now off in this very same tick, and what that does is that whenever the shulker box is broken, we cannot even see the item form of it because it gets immediately picked up by this hopper. As you can see, the shulker box, the full shulker box, is right there. If we step the game 8 more ticks, we can see the piston retracts, a new empty shulker box gets dispensed, The one that we had catched with this hopper is now inside of the dropper, and we step the game 8 more ticks. The concrete powder returns to its place. We power this redstone torch again, and the full shulker box that was in the dropper is now inside of this bottom hopper. Uh, and from this hopper, you can connect whatever storage device you want and take the shulker box out of there. So if we count the game ticks, the system is fully reset after exactly 30 game ticks, or 1.5 seconds. Now, apart from having every shulker box immediately available after it gets broken, this system also has the upside that it produces a constant redstone output while the shulker box while the full shulker box is still in place. This is because it uses the weird mechanic that competitors have a preference to read empty containers that are the backup blocks, or actually also full containers, before the redstone dust that could be on top of the in-between block, unless the redstone dust has a signal strength of 15. Then the comparator does this weird thing that it changes its preference, and instead of still reading the empty container, it will change to read the redstone dust, and this way we'll detect that the shulker box is full because we will have a signal strength of 15. Then the rest of the system does its thing, and if we want or if we need to read this output because of external circumstances, because you need a system that actually needs it to read when the shulker box is full, we can get an output from this comparator right here very easily. Unfortunately, there is one downside to this system. If we have pre-filled shulker boxes inside of this dispenser, so for example, I have here a shulker box that is not full, but it's almost full, so that means it's pre-filled. It already has some items inside of it. I put it inside the dispenser, and then we do the test again. We put the full shulker box right here. We can see the system in action, but the problem is, look now at the contents. If you remember, it said that we had 56 items in that first slot, and now we only have 55. Well, that's because this hopper already sucked up one of the items from the inside of the shulker box, and here in the other dropper we have, of course, our full shulker box. This is because to have the non-buffered system, we need to fire or to trigger this redstone torch twice. So the first one to suck the shulker box with this hopper, and the second one to fire this dropper and that the shulker box gets onto this hopper. This does give us the ability to have a system that won't have any buffered shulker boxes inside. However, it does mean that you cannot use the system with pre-filled shulker boxes. So if you want to use this system with empty shulkers, you'll be very much fine. But also keep in mind that you won't be able to use it with pre-filled shulker boxes. Now the second system will break the shulker box after exactly 12 game ticks, so it's even a little bit faster than the first one. And yeah, we can see it in action, of course, if we freeze the game. There we go. We are gonna do the same. We're gonna replace that shulker box, that empty shulker box, with a full one. There we go. Then we'll step the game 11 ticks actually. There we go. As you can see, the piston right here is ready to fire and break that shulker box, and the repeater down here is ready to turn off that redstone torch. So we step the game one more tick. The shulker box gets immediately broken. The torch has turned off, which means that the hopper can now suck the shulker box immediately after. So yeah, we don't see it bounce anywhere else, which is what we want to make it 100% reliable. And if we step the game 12 more ticks actually, we can see that yeah, the piston returns to its place, a new empty shulker box is dispensed, and this last shulker box unfortunately stays in that hopper because this redstone torch is on already. Now if we step the game 4 more ticks, we can see that the dropper fires, but oh okay, we already had a one buffered shulker box inside. But as you can see, the shulker box that we just broke is still in this hopper, right? The dropper will dispense whatever it has inside of it. The concrete powder returns to its rightful place. We have the empty shulker box already dispensed, and so that means that the system has reset after exactly 28 game ticks after the box is full. So so zero point 0.1 seconds faster than the first system, which is not much, but it's a bit faster. And unfortunately, we don't get a double trigger. This is already the system reset. If we unfreeze the game, nothing else will happen. So we do get one shulker box, one full shulker box being buffered inside of this hopper until the next shulker box gets full, and we do the cycle again. This shulker box will pass the dropper and will be dispensed and onto that dropper right there at the bottom. And so yeah, this system does have one full shulker box being buffered inside of it. The other downside of this system is that we are using the changing state of this redstone dust to detect when the shulker box is full. So whenever we get a full shulker box, this redstone dust will change to a signal strength of 15. We detect that with our observers, and then it will change back to 14. We detect that also with observers. And yeah, that's a downside because in the other one, we get directly a constant output, a constant redstone output with this comparator. In this one, we get a change in state of this redstone dust, which means that if we want to read it externally for whatever reason, we would need an observer here reading that redstone dust as well, or maybe take the signal out of here like this. And yeah, instead of having a constant output of a redstone signal, we'll just have two very short pulses, one after the other. Of course, the one that you choose to use depends on your applications that you are using it for, and of course, your needs for the redstone system. And as you can notice, both of the systems are super fast and super compact. In fact, they fit in exactly the same 6x6 blocks area, and of course, they are one wide, so no issue there. They are also quite cheap and quite easy to build. And another upside to both of them is that this time I also avoided using toggle states. Toggle states are basically T flip-flops. In my other designs, I usually use, for example, pistons that spit out their blocks and then retract them again. Uh, you could also consider a toggle state the new copper bulbs, or even just a dispenser dispensing, I don't know, water from a water bucket, and yeah, if you didn't know, it changes the redstone signal that a bucket against a water bucket gives. So it is higher with a water bucket. Though all of those are considered toggle states, and by avoiding using toggle states in these designs, it just means that it makes it so much easier for you to build them, as you won't have to worry about resetting the pistons if you make a mistake while tiling them up together, or by copying them with World Edit, which also creates updates in the blocks, and yeah, sometimes that can be messy. Um, this, of course, does come up with the cost of having to manually place an initial shulker box on top of these hoppers, which you can do by standing on top of this concrete powder and just placing drop the shulker boxes. So I don't think it's a big problem, but of course, yeah, we are not having that feature of dispensing a new shulker box automatically. Also, since this is not possible, you will have to make sure that the dispensers don't run ever out of shulker boxes, because otherwise you'll have to go inside the system and replace the shulker boxes that are missing. As I said, though, this is a tutorial after all, so even if it's very simple to build both contraptions with just looking at them, let's make a quick tutorial for both, like really fast. These are the material lists. On the left, there is the material list for the first system, and on the right for the second one. You can take a quick look, pause the video if you need. Let's get onto the tutorial. Alright, so for both systems, we'll start by placing a hopper facing downward with an empty shulker box on top of it. Then we place a dropper facing downward below the hopper and another hopper also facing downward on top of the shulker box. We'll now place a sticky piston right next to the dropper facing upward, and on top of it a normal piston facing into this hopper, just like that. And then we'll grab a concrete powder, if I can spell right. Oh, come on, there we go, concrete powder. And we'll place it on top of this normal piston, just like so. Then we'll come down here and place a solid block right below this sticky piston. Then we'll place a temporary block and a no block next to that temporary block. We can now replace that temporary block with an observer reading the no block and powering that solid block that we just placed. And we can grab that same temporary block and use it on the other side by placing it here next to the dropper, and then a solid block covering it up on the top and another one covering it below. We can now replace that temporary block with a redstone torch, just like so. And finally a dispenser here at the top of the top solid block facing into the shulker box. Then we can come down here and we'll place the hopper that will lead to the storage device of your own 2 blocks down, 2 blocks below the dropper right here, and we'll cover that hopper, with a repeater on 2 ticks. The repeater has to be facing out the solid block that touches the sticky piston and facing into the solid block that touches the redstone torch. Now we're just missing one thing, and that is covering this dispenser up with a hopper facing downwards, just like so. And there we go. This is the main skeleton for both systems, and the next part will be different between the two systems. So I'm just gonna proceed with building the first one. So to continue with the first system, we'll place a solid block right here next to the node block, and an observer facing this way right on top of the node block. That we'll use this observer to help us place another observer powering this solid block right like this, and then a comparator on top of that observer that we just placed. As you can see, the piston will spit out the block. It doesn't matter, we can fix it by just doing that. Real easy. Then we'll place a repeater here on top of this observer and we'll set it to 3 ticks. Next thing we'll do is on top of this repeater we'll place an empty composter, and next to the composter and on top of this observer we'll place a solid block with the redstone dust on top of it. On top of the composter and facing out of the concrete powder we'll place a comparator just like that, and then on top of this redstone dust an observer reading it, and then on top of the comparator another observer reading that last observer that we just placed. And so there it is. The first precision locking 1Y tileable shulker box loader is done. Okay, now to continue with the second system, we place a solid block on top of the node block right here, and a repeater facing out of that solid block set onto 4 ticks right on top of this observer, as you can see. On top of this repeater, we'll place a solid block like that. We'll use that solid block to place an observer powering this last solid block that we just placed, just like this. And next to that observer, we'll place a redstone block. If this seems too expensive for you, you can also place just a solid block, a normal solid block, and use redstone torches instead here, or either here or on top where the observer will be. I can show you that in a second. For now, I will leave it right here, but yeah, if it's easier for you, just use a redstone block right there. The next thing we'll do is here next to the concrete powder and on top of this solid block, we'll place a comparator reading the concrete powder. Then in front of the comparator, we'll place 2 redstone dots just like this. And as you can see, the pistons will move and all of that, but they will return to their place afterward. Yeah, with the redstone torch or with the redstone block, you'll see that the redstone dust will power up and will show 15 here and 14 here. You can check it out by toggling F3 and looking there at the right part of your screen if you don't have a texture pack like this one. Then we'll place a observer reading this redstone dust that has the 14 on it. and then another observer on top of the comparator reading that last observer. And yeah, with this, the second system is done. As you can see, both of them are super quick to do. If you don't want the redstone torch down there, you can also place it here against this observer. And as you can see, the same thing happens. I just prefer to use the redstone block just because it's a bit cleaner. But of course, that might be a little bit too expensive for some people. So there we have it. The second precision locking one white tileable shulker box loader is complete. So hopefully you'll find this tutorial useful and you'll like the contraptions. Feel free to use the loader of your choice on whatever redstone storage you build and you need, and if you do, let me know down in the comment section what you used it for. As a bonus, I also want to show you two examples of things that you can do with this system. The first example is just the first loader with a stackable item sorter on top of it. It's a very standard sorter, as you can see, and you can build these next to your farms to sort the items that they produce into boxes by having the items being pushed along on top of these packed ice. Keep in mind just that you have to align the items so that they touch not only the packed ice but also the hoppers here on the side so that they can be pulled down. And yeah, as you can see, it's a very, very simple way of doing it and not too big either. The second example is not as compact as the first, but it is as cool, probably even cooler. So yeah, it is this crafter compactor design that will also grab items that are going along on top of this ice, but also touching this hopper right here, and will craft them into blocks or into things that require only one type of item to be crafted. And a good use for these would be, for example, to compact iron ingots from your iron farm into iron blocks and then store them into shulker boxes. So yeah, pretty good design. In this one though, we are using a toggle state, unfortunately, because we get a double pulse from this observer, and yeah, otherwise it's kind of hard to make it tileable. Uh, because we don't have the option to use the trick here with the composer, because we don't have a signal strength of 15 coming out of this crafter. We only have 9. So yeah, unfortunately we are using a toggle state. It shouldn't be too much of a problem though. Finally, I want to show you a design using the crafter to automatically craft shulker boxes whenever this chest is empty. It will fill it up almost to the brim and then stop and wait until it is empty again to keep crafting. So let's empty it out. As you can see, the system triggers. We have, of course, the shulker drills here, the logs here. We are turning the logs into planks, planks into chests, chests into shulker boxes, and we are filling the chests really fast, I might add as well. And as you can see, the shulker boxes will fill up to this slot right here, and then the system will turn off. There we go. It's turned off again. And yeah, if we get the shulker box out, as you can see, the system won't start crafting again until the full the full chest, sorry, is empty of shulker boxes. And this way you will only have to worry about keeping the materials up here stocked, and not to worry about that your dispensers will run out of shulker boxes, because as you can see, you can hook this hopper up to your array of shulker box loaders, and that way you will always have your shulker boxes, your empty shulker boxes, stocked up. Anyways, guys, this is it for today's video. If you are still here, I want to thank you and apologize to all of you who have been waiting for this one to come out. I've been very busy IRL, and the little free time that I get, I've been using it to spend with my family that just came to visit from abroad. So yeah, I'm very happy about it, but it also consumes most of my time. Still, I want to let you know that I have not stopped working in the videos. I still have plenty of videos pending that I need to record, so stay tuned for those. Also, if you want to check all of the contraptions in detail, these contraptions that I just showed you, the world download or the link to the world download will be down in the description of the video, so go ahead and check it out. And if you like this video, let me know by hitting the like button. And while you are down there, also subscribe for more content like this if you haven't done so, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. Anyways, once again, thanks so much for watching. Have a great week, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.